Hey folks, thanks for joining me today, and let me take this opportunity to wish you a happy Easter. Whether you're watching this before, after, or during, a happy Easter to you at any time of the year. So I've had this idea in my head for a little while, and it's really good to finally get it down on a rock, and I'm very pleased to be able to bring this tutorial to you. There's a lot of blending that's going to be happening with this one, but it's going to be layered blending, and it's a technique that I've been wanting to try and finally had the opportunity to do it. I'm using a new stone today. I got these molds from the Happy Dotting Company. If you want to see what else she has available, you can go to the link in the description below. And I was very excited about getting this mold. It's an oval mold, and there's two different sizes. So I have the large and the small. This is the large one. As I do with all of my rocks, I give them a base coat of black, and this just allows for even coverage. I don't have to do as many layers when I'm using my colors, and it just works out better. So this is, like I said, going to have a lot of blending, and I'm going to do it in layers. So right now I used a dark blue color, and then I used one shade lighter than that to sponge in the middle, and then I'm just adding a little bit of white to mix in with that, just to give it a gradient from top to bottom. And now I'm just applying some top coat that has some glitter in it. Now I'm going to be painting over a lot of this, so I'm okay to be a little bit sloppy. Now this is where the fun part comes in. So I used some painter's tape after it was completely dry, and I made a cross. And I just simply laid it on top, and then I started sponging around it. So I'm using just white to the effect that I want to get is to make it look like it's glowing. So I just use the white and I sponge it on. I don't care if I get over top of the tape or not, but this is just how I'm doing it. So yeah, I just go around the entire tape in the shape that I put it on. In this case, it's a cross, and I'm just sponging some white on top of it. I will be sponging more on top of this, but this is how we start with the layered blending. Now that I've got the cross all covered in white, I'm just going back in with my other colors that I started with, and I'm just blending it in, and I'm not being extremely careful with it. I just am putting in some darks, some lights, and some medium tones of the same color, and I'm just putting it on. The reason is because I want this to look like the sky, and I want to add some clouds to it, so that also requires more blending. But I need a really good base coat to give it the illusion of the sky, so that's why I'm just adding the different colors. And I just continue going around using my sponge. Now I use a different sponge for each color, because once they get mixed together on the sponge, it's hard to get that true color. So I use different sponges for each color, and I just keep adding in until I'm happy with the way that it looks. Now what I'm doing is I'm just adding a little bit of white and just sort of putting it wherever I want to, and then blending it in just to lighten it up a bit, because I thought it was a bit too dark. And I also want it to have that kind of a cloud effect or fuzzy effect when I'm done. And now I'm just adding in some of the darker tones, and I will be going in again with some more of the lighter tones, just so that I have them both in there. And there we go. There's the lighter tones. I think that's the middle tone of the blue. Now all the colors that I've used are listed in the description below, so please have a look down there. You don't have to use the same colors that I've used. You can use whatever you have in your stash. This is just what I had available to me. And remember that you can always lighten paint or darker paint if you've got black and white. So that's what I did. Like I said, all of the colors are listed below. If you like this tutorial, please hit that thumbs up. And if you want to see more, definitely hit the subscribe button. I post every Friday. And if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you ring that bell, and you'll get notifications every time I post. So just remember, thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and ring the bell. With all of the blue blending that I've been doing, I have gone over top of the white that I had around the cross. So I'm just going back in with some white and just reapplying so that I get that definition of the cross so it looks like it's glowing. You can't really tell now, but it's a really cool effect. So now what I want to do is I want to have like beams coming from it, like light beams. So I took the leftovers of my painter's tape from the cross and I made sort of like little triangles or slivers, and I'm just placing them all around the cross, all coming from the center so that it's like it's glowing from behind the cross and it's shining these beams out from it. So I just apply them the same way that I did with the cross and make sure that they're not adhered tightly, but at least on there so that the paint won't seep through. Then what I do is I take my blending brush, I dab on some color, just like I'm doing there now, and then I take it and I swipe it. I don't know if that's the proper term, but that's what I'm going to use. And it just blends it out better. So it has this glow effect that goes away from the beams of light. And the effect is just amazing. So it's another way that you can blend instead of just dabbing or using a sponge. You can use a paintbrush and just lightly spreading the paint back and forth over the tape. You're going to get this kind of a glow effect, which is really, really neat. I know it doesn't look like much right now, but trust me, when you take that tape off, what is revealed is amazing because you can't really see what you've already painted because it's covered up by the tape. But when you take that tape off, it's such an amazing effect. You just wait, you got to watch to the end. So now what I'm doing is I'm just adding in some clouds at the bottom because I wanted the cross to appear to be in the sky. So that's why I chose all the blue colors. And I'm just adding in the clouds at the bottom and some of it goes up the side. Now you don't have to be careful where you put these because you've got the tape protecting everything that you wanted. So you can just put them on wherever you want. This is the way that I'm doing clouds. Now, if you have a better technique that works for you, by all means, go ahead and do it. This is just how I make clouds. So I start off with white, and that gives me my basic shape. And then I know that the light is also coming from behind the cross. So that's where the lightest part of the cloud's going to be. Then I add in different shades of blue to give it that 3D effect. To show that maybe there's clouds overlapping each other or where the bottom of the cloud is versus the top, just that kind of thing. So I just go ahead and I continue doing all of the blending. It doesn't need to be perfect because this is the sky, these are the clouds. And it's almost time for taking the tape off. So here we go. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? It's like it is a real like beam of light that's shining behind that cross. And it's such an amazing effect and so easy to do. So there's all of your light beams, and now I'm going to take the cross off and it'll be a different color than the rest of it. And it has that shine to it because we put that top coat with glitter in it. It's just, oh, it's so beautiful. So now what I'm doing is I just want to outline the cross with some metallic blue paint. I think it's blue sapphire that I used. But again, all the colors are listed in the description below. But I just do a quick outline of the entire cross in this just to separate it from the rest of it. I'm just so in love with how awesome this turned out. It's just amazing. And check out the glow of the cross. That's from the sponging or the blending that we did of the white over top of the tape. It just, wow, I'm so impressed. Just amazing. I'm so happy with the way that this turned out. And we're not finished yet. We still have a few things that we need to do to finish touching it up. Like as you can tell, it's pretty messy around. I don't have a nice border on it. And you can still see my pencil marks from my General's charcoal pencil that I used to get the center of the oval that I wanted to put onto this rock. So we still got to do all that cleanup and stuff, but oh my gosh, it just looks amazing. I'm just in love. It's so beautiful. I'm sure that you know what Easter means, but I'm going to give you a little bit of information on that. It's about the resurrection of Jesus 3 days after his death by crucifixion. So it's a time of year to celebrate new life and forgiveness and a new beginning. This also includes things like your plants in your garden. If you think about it, they died in the fall and went into sort of like a hibernation state. And with the melting of the snow and the warmer temperatures, we're starting to see them pop out of the soil again. So they are resurrecting out of the garden. So for me, it's also a sign of spring and warmer weather coming and more reasons to be joyful. So I thought doing the cross was a really good way to show my appreciation of what Easter means to me. And you don't have to do a cross. You can do like tulips or daffodils, things that are one of the first things to pop up in your garden if you've planted those bulbs. So I cleaned up the edges of the oval that I had drawn on that has the cross in the middle. I used flat black or matte black, I guess. And I use that just to tidy it up around the edges. And while that's drying, I'm going in with a pearl paint that I'm putting just on the edge of the blue and the edge of the white that's we blended with the brush. This is just to give it that little extra shine to make it pop out a little bit more. And it just adds that little extra. You only just need a little, and it just makes it pop even that much more. I know I say that a lot, but it's true. It makes it pop. So I was very pleased with how the pearl paint made that happen. And I'm looking at this as I'm talking, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I'm very impressed with my work on this one, and I hope you enjoy this tutorial and that you've liked learning how to do this, different types of blending by doing layers. It was a lot of fun for me, and I really hope that you get something out of it. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you liked about it. Let me know if there's another way that you know of doing this kind of blending. Or take a picture of what you have done and put it in the comments. Definitely go over to my Facebook page as well. You can find all sorts of other things that I've painted that I have not put onto YouTube. But everything's there. So, and my links are all in the description below. So I invite you to please come on over to Facebook and check me out. My Etsy shop is listed there as well. So if you're interested in purchasing any of these, they will be available there. I painted a gold frame around the oval, very thin line, but I really wanted to separate the cross from the rock itself. So I put on that gold frame, and then I'm adding some dots because I love dots and I have to have dots on everything. So I'm using the tools that I received from the Dotting Center. If you're interested, I have left a link to her Etsy shop in the description below. So definitely go and click on that and check out what she has available. I love these tools. They're absolutely amazing. I've had so many different sets of tools. These are my go-tos. So definitely must have. So I'm just adding some dots, and I'm using my nail stylus to walk the dots down to the ones that I applied in the center. I wanted it to look like a chain almost, or something of that type, just to add the elegance to it because it so deserves this. I will be putting bling bling on it as well because nothing of mine ever goes without bling bling. So now I'm doing a different design on the top, and I'm just dragging some of the dots. And again, I will be putting bling bling on the top 3 dots, but the ones that I've dragged, I'm just leaving as is, and it just makes it look so beautiful and finishes it off completely. Okay, maybe not completely because I do end up putting dots around the entire gold frame. So I just use my nail stylist. I'm sticking with the gold paint. And what I do is I put a dot in what I think is the center, and then I slowly work my way down to that one. And I do this on the left side and the right side, just to have it balanced. And it turned out amazingly. It's just, again, so beautiful. I'm so impressed. I love it. There is another symbol that is very famous for Easter. So stay tuned because I will be doing another tutorial on the Easter Bunny. So stay tuned, watch for that. And remember, folks, life is what you make it. So get creative.